Hi guys, how are you? Danielle here from Farm Essentials. I just wanted to do, this is only going to be a quick one tonight, but I just wanted to make sure that I really explain to you the difference between the doTERRA essential oils and the other essential oils that are out on the market. So obviously essential oils are really popular at the moment and gaining popularity as well. So it's really important to be able to know exactly the different grades of essential oils that are available and just how you can actually safely use those particular grades or the possible, what's the word I'm looking for, hazards, I guess, of using other brands of essential oils in the same way that I'm showing out using doTERRA essential oils. This is really, really, really important for your health and your safety, that you understand the different grades of the essential oils. So I'm just going to do a really quick screen share of a couple of PowerPoint slides just to explain some differences to you. So just give me a second while I get that ready. Yeah. So just first of all, just want to explain what essential oils are. So basically they're the volatile, which means usually evaporate, compounds, aromatic compounds from the plants, and they're extracted from all different parts of the plant. And that's from the seeds, the leaves, the flowers, the citrus rind, sometimes the whole plant's used, sometimes it's the roots or the bark and things like that. So each plant will be, an essential oil will come from a different place of the plant. With the peppermint oil, there's a little script diagram there of what an animated version of what they look like underneath the microscope. So the little white stacks there are the little essential oil stacks of the peppermint essential oil. And that's what we extract. So they're extracted through different methods, and this is one of the things that can make a really big difference in the quality and the potency of the essential oils. We use, well, with steam distillation is the most common way of extracting them because it's one of the easiest ways. But if you do that, it needs to be at a certain temperature and at a certain pressure, not to actually affect the chemical constituents and the composition and the potency and the purity, basically, the quality of the essential oil. So when, I'm going to talk about different grades in a minute, but if a particular essential oil is being used for something other than therapeutic properties, for example, they can be made, it's quite a slow process. So they can be made to be extracted a lot faster, and that generally means you actually end up losing a lot of the therapeutic properties of the essential oils because the composition of the essential oils actually changed. Sorry, I just need to think of what. So that's something that's really important. And it's not really something that you're going to know what essential oils as such are going to be done in that correct way. And that's something that doTERRA really wanted to make sure that they can ensure. So I'll go through that a bit more in a minute. But the other way that they can be extracted, and this is how they do it from citrus essential oils that come from the actual citrus rind, and that's through cold press expression. So basically pressure squashing the rind, and that releases the essential oils. And then basically they go into water and they're being an oil. They either float on top of the water, or some of them will actually sink to the bottom, but they separate. And then that oil is removed from the water. So with your citrus or rind, you can actually see the sacks on the rind. So when you peel an orange or a mandarin, it stays mixed everywhere. That's actually the essential oil sacks releasing. So that's where the essential oils for the citrus oils come from. Some of the citrus plants come from the leaves as well, but they're different oils. So yeah, so that's pretty much what essential oils are. They have been used throughout history. in many different ways, including in food preparation, beauty treatments, and to maintain personal health. Obviously, we're seeing essential oils a lot more now, but they have been around for a really long time. They are more very, very, very concentrated. What's the word I'm looking for again? I'm really having baby brain tonight. So they're highly concentrated and very much more so compared to their herbal parts, whether it's dried or fresh. So an example of that, they're about 50, the doTERRA essential oils are about 50 to 70 times more potent than the herbs in their natural state. And then the doTERRA peppermint is one drop of that is equal to about 28 cups of peppermint tea. So a little bit goes a really long way, and a little bit is really powerful. So you don't want to be overdoing it. If you overdo it, you will potentially, there is potential risk there with that. But in saying that, they are also quite safe, but you still want to use them safely and within their recommended amount. They do, when they are a pure therapeutic grade essential oil, they will actually affect us on a cellular level. They're not there just for a nice smell to be in the room. They're there to help us support our bodies, either on an emotional level, on a mental level, or on a physical level as well. So they actually aid our body in healing and in many different ways because they work on a cellular level. They also work with our brain chemistry basically. So our sense of smell has got what's called an olfactory system within part of it. I have got a diagram of it, but I'm not sure if it's sort of easy to show you on here tonight. But that olfactory system sits within our nasal passages, and it actually links to a couple of different parts of our brain. And one of those parts of our brain is, I'm trying to think of what part is. I'm pretty sure it's the hypothalamus, and then it's also linked to the pituitary gland. Anyway, it's linked to a couple of different spots in our brain, and that is our emotional regulator. And then also our also linked to our hormone regulating part of our body. So our sense of smell with these essential oils, because they're effective on that cellular level, can actually really, really aid our body with hormonal balance and also with emotional needs and addressing those emotional needs as well as working with our overall system as well. So this is the different grades of essential oils. So basically there's 4 different grades of essential oils. The first one is the synthetic. So they are basically just a chemical cocktail. They're 100% man-made, so there's no there's basically nothing natural left in there. Some of it might be extracted from plants or something like that, but it won't be, it'll pretty much be changed so much that it's no longer in that natural state anymore. And this comes down to a lot of greenwashing as well. So this isn't just essential oils, this comes down to a lot of other products as well, but I will not get into that. So basically they're synthetic aromatic compounds, and these will often be the ones that you're buying from. There's certain other companies out there that will be this grade of essential oils that are just purely for a smell and will often be with chemical components and not actual natural properties to it at all. Ones from your cheap shops, a lot of ones from the chemists as well. And so you really need to be careful of that. You really need to read the fine print, do research, find the materials listed data sheets and information on the ingredients and the oils and things like that. There's a really popular brand, a very common and well-known brand of essential oil that gets, you can even buy from health food shops off the shelf and the chemist as well. And they say that they're 100% pure on the label, but when you actually read, even on the front of the label without finding out the full ingredients, it actually says I think it's 1 milligram or microgram per mil, or 1 mil per mil basically. So it's 50-50 a multi-purpose liquid. They don't actually tell you what that multi-purpose liquid is. And then the other half is pure essential oil. And yeah, so you've got to be careful. You've got to make sure you know what you're buying, basically. Then the next grade is food grade. Now that doesn't sound that bad, but the essential oils are distilled in a way that basically gives us a flavour for food and nothing more. So often it is extracted, basically they want fast production. So it's extracted in a way that does actually end up restoring the therapeutic properties that are in the essential oils. It changes the composition for the medicinal purposes of the essential oils and the therapeutic properties. So when you're using a food grade essential oil, it's also often suspended in alcohol to preserve it or make it go further. And yeah, so it's not going to actually have that therapeutic property that we want, that we're getting the benefits from. So when I share things like that, I've used peppermint essential oil in, say, my bliss balls and my raw chocolate, which I often do. It's not just peppermint essential oil that I've gone and got from the shop. It is the doTERRA CPTG essential oil, and it's not only giving me that beautiful peppermint flavour, which is so different to the food grade essential oil flavour as well, because it hasn't been altered. And I'm getting the therapeutic properties from that for my digestive health and things like that. So that's really, really important to understand as well. And another way too is if I'm using, say, the other day I did a post on using these for ants, and I was using the peppermint essential oil for that. If you were to use a food grade essential oil, or just a food essence even, they're not the same. And you might actually end up causing damage to, I don't know, your bench tops or your paintwork or things like that, I guess. You've got to be careful. And then the next grade is therapeutic grade essential oil. And again, this isn't always what you would expect to be getting. So you can, basically there's no regulatory body that actually governs or sets the standard as such for what a therapeutic essential oil needs to be. They can still be distilled in a way that destroys some of the therapeutic properties that are not as potent. They may have other types of contaminations in them as well. They might come from an organic plant if they're an organic essential oil, but it doesn't mean that their full distillation process hasn't had any contaminants going into it. They don't actually have to test for that as such. To be certified organic, it will have to meet certain standards, but they're still, you can still have a certain percentage of parts of that aren't actually organic. So that's a really interesting part of organics to actually look into as well. So it's really hard to determine the quality and the standard. And that's what doTERRA wanted to change. They didn't want to be on par with that. So a lot of people say that this is a bad thing because it's a doTERRA trademark, basically the CPTG, which is certified pure therapeutic grade essential oil. But what doTERRA wanted is they wanted to set a standard benchmark, basically, to ensure the quality and the purity of the doTERRA essential oils. So they, I think, to be therapeutic grade essential oil, they have to have gone through, I think it's 2, maybe 3 tests that tested different things. I can't remember exactly the name of those tests that are done. And you probably wouldn't really understand them either anyway, if I were to just mention them. But the doTERRA CPTG actually requires every single batch of essential oils to go through 8 different tests, and within that, included obviously the ones that your normal therapeutic grade essential oils have to go through, and then also heavy metal testing and microbial testing are 2 of the additional ones as well, and obviously others. And these tests basically are done to confirm that the essential oil is free of contaminants and that any unexpected alterations to the composition of the essential oils haven't actually occurred during their production and through the distillation of the essential oil. So some of those tests are done immediately after the essential oil has been extracted, and then some are done away as well at the lab. So doTERRA also don't test that themselves. There's actually the two different companies that actually test that and basically certify that, saying yes, that meets the standards that you're setting. And so that basically gives us an essential oil that is guaranteed to pretty much be the same essential oil composition for every single batch, within a very marginal, obviously, because different factors play a role in the chemical composition of the essential oils when the plants are actually grown. That's another difference with doTERRA as well. That I'll talk about in a minute. Also, that they are free of pesticides and other contaminants, that they are that's my train of thought. Yeah, so basically you're getting the same essential oil composition every time and quality. So that's one of the most important things, and that chemical composition is within what that essential oil is supposed to be. So one component isn't, 10 times higher than what it's supposed to be compared to another component that's in the oil, because that can actually change the reaction that we have to the essential oil. So they make sure that they're all within balance. doTERRA also, they source their essential oils globally. They don't just farm them all in one place. They do research, they do testing to test essential oils from different countries, different areas and things like that, and make sure that they're getting the ones that have got the chemical composition that they want. And so, for example, the cardamom essential oil can be good for respiratory and can also be good for our digestive system as well. So doTERRA have three choices with where they sourced it from. One of those was the essential oil had the components that were better for the digestive health. The other one was better for the respiratory health. And then the third, which is where we get it from, again, off the top of my head, I'm not remembering what country that is, but it's pretty easy to find, had the chemical components within a balance where it's good for both. So they have actually sourced from there because that was the best quality oil that they could get. So that's probably it on the different grades. But that is a really, really, really important part to understand the differences. So yeah, so it sets the bar for purity and potency. They source the essential oils worldwide for the best quality, and they are free of contaminants and pesticides, and they're subjected to rigorous testing to ensure the purity and the potency of every single batch. So not just 1 in 10 batches of that essential oil, but every single batch that comes out of the distillery is actually tested as well. So doTERRA have a co-impact sourcing way of sourcing their essential oils, and basically that ensures the sustainability of our essential oils and also putting back into the community. So doTERRA source from over 40 different countries, and many of those countries, I think it's over half of those countries, are developing countries. So it actually also helps to provide sustainable jobs for the community at fair prices, and they're paid on time and cuts out the middleman for them and things like that. So it really puts back into the communities where they source the essential oils from. And this also, where the plants that we source the essential oils from, where they grow, plays a really big role in the composition of the essential oils. So the different things that affect that composition of the essential oil, things like temperature of where the plant is grown, the altitude of where the plant's grown, the soil type, and yeah, so things like that. So it's a really important part of what makes those essential oils so different. They're not just like lavender, for example, hasn't come from Australia where it's really not native to. It comes from France or Bulgaria, I'm pretty sure, is where the new distillery is. And they are the sort of climates where that lavender plant is native to. So it's growing in its optimal environment and is producing the best quality of essential oil because of its chemical components composition within it. So that makes a really big difference, and that's what I love. I love that doTERRA put back into the communities as well, and this is another reason, this is another way they do it. They've got their own charity organisation called Healing Hands Foundation, and it's basically, it funds and provides resources for community-based projects to improve the lives of the larger communities where we source our oils from. And some of the projects they've done have included building medical clinics or sponsoring existing medical clinics so they can improve their facilities, installing drinking water and irrigation systems and building schools and things like that. So all of the proceeds from the go into Healing Hands Foundation will actually go directly to where they need to go. You can also buy certain products, or when you do a US order, you can actually choose to donate, you know, $1 or $10 or something like that to the Healing Hands Foundation as well, which is really cool. So I'm not going to go fully into how to use essential oils right now, but a really important difference that the CPTG makes is the internal use of the essential oils as well as the topical use. So with synthetic oils, you're not going to be wanting to use those on your skin. They're full of chemicals. The whole point of going down the road of using essential oils is to be using something that's natural. So you don't want to be using a synthetic. I don't even use them aromatically. I don't have anything like that in my home. We are pretty much, I think 98% of our home is chemical free. There's probably 2, maybe 3 products left in our home that we are looking at replacing, but we haven't found a candidate for yet, but they're used pretty minimally. But aromatically, even those chemicals are still entering our system, still polluting our air and things like that as well. So be careful what you're using even aromatically is what I always say to people. Topically, you want to make sure you're using 100% pure essential oils. You don't want to be putting chemicals on your skin. You're either going to get a skin reaction or you're just going to be absorbing it and adding to your toxic load within your body. And then internally, you definitely do not want to be using essential oils that are not made in a way that they can be used internally and that aren't basically guaranteed to be free of these heavy metals and other contaminants and things like that. So the CPTG is the only way, the only essential oils that you are recommended to using internally. So be very careful of that. Don't go using another brand of, say, a food or a spice oil and using it internally or in your food. That's very important part. So you wouldn't want to go and use another brand of lemon and put a drop in your water. The CPTG essential oil has actually been made to use that. So you can use a drop of that in your water without it having adverse health effects. I'm just going to quickly show you. This is the diagram of how essential oils affect our emotions. Limbic system, that's what it is for the emotions. That's the limbic system is our emotional regulator, and the hypothalamus is our where our hormone center of our brain. So that's how it basically how it works, and it's up through that olfactory system within our nasal cavity. Obviously the dilution you're using topically, which I've shared. So yeah, internally, you really want to make sure that it is made for this purpose, and it has been tested for this purpose as well. And a lot of people say, oh, it hasn't been brought into Australia to be used as food grade oils, and that's not true. It has actually been brought into Australia as a food grade essential oil as well. So you'll see on the bottles that are intended for internal use, they'll actually have the supplement back on there. Okay, so that's one way of showing you that okay, that oil is an internal use oil. It can then also be used topically and aromatically as well. Whereas if you were to get a bottle of the Ice Blue, for example, which is our athletic blend or our sort of 8 contains blend, it won't have any supplement information on the bottle, and it'll say for topical use only or something like that. So you can use it topically, you can use it aromatically as well, but most people use that one topically. So that's really important to know that difference as well. And I think that's all I sort of really wanted to show you tonight. With that, I'm just going to stop my screen sharing, try and find my way back to the camera. There we go. Yeah, so that's the main points that I really wanted to bring across tonight, because I realised when I did the 8 contains live video on Facebook the other day, and also spoke about the topical use and how to dilute and the sort of the 3 ways that you can use them topically. I forgot to mention those really important facts about the different grades of essential oils. So I really wanted to make sure I brought that information to you, to make sure you're educated in that, to make an educated decision on what you're putting on your skin, and then making sure that you're not using other essential oils internally as well. So really, really, really important. And yeah, and I wanted to share those other differences of doTERRA as well, because they were really, really important to me, as someone who really wants to make sure that what I'm using with my family was in line with my morals and my ethics with regards to their company and how they source their oils and things like that. And then also just making sure that they are as pure and beneficial for my family as what they claim to be. And after experiencing other essential oils, I guess both synthetics, not without being in the recent use of essential oils, but definitely have been previously. And then also with pure 100% certified organic essential oils as well. Major difference in our results with what we've got with those. So, and obviously through the study that I'm doing, I was studying aromatherapy. Because of changes within that course, I can't do that at the moment without having to campus in Brisbane, so I'm currently not doing that. But the course that I'm currently doing with the natural therapy consultant does include essential oils as well. So a lot of this information that I provided for you, it has come from doTERRA, but a lot of it is also just, your general knowledge of what essential oils are, what affects their composition, and, their ideal growing environments and things like that affect their potency and their purity and their therapeutic properties as well. So that's, yeah, it's not just doTERRA telling you that is actually, it's all true. And if you go to doTERRA.com, you'll find there's a science section on there where you can actually go and see all the science behind doTERRA, what they're doing, testing the essential oils and the research they're doing on essential oils and things like that, is a lot more than what any other company is actually doing. So they're really putting in the research. They're doing the scientific research behind it. So a lot of people think, oh yeah, it's a natural alternative and things like that. So it's just a hippie thing that people think works and don't really work and things like that. So if you go and have a look at that actual scientific research that's been done, there is other information that's available as well, but doTERRA really puts the money and the work into putting into that science research that they're doing. So they're very much a scientific-based company, which is which is important as well. So I hope you found that helpful. And yeah, just really, really important to understand those differences. So, yeah.